What's up, guys? Jay Lee here. Got another Northwest podcast for you today. I'm going to talk about three different things today. First of all, I'm going to talk about what is mgtow, because there's some talk out there about really clarifying what mgtow is as mgtow becomes more popular in the manosphere. Secondly, I'm going to have a couple of I'm going to have an opinion about a certain guy, a certain pickup artist, and then I'm going to have an opinion about what's going on, the beef, I guess, if you will, between 21 Studios and Donovan Sharpe. All right, so let's get into it. So first of all, I just want to put out a disclaimer. This is just my opinion. I'm just weighing in. I don't have a dog in this fight in any of this stuff, really, because I'm not even mgtow. I'm not necessarily a pickup artist per se. I mean, I do practice a little bit, and then also, I don't know these guys, 21 Studio, Donovan Sharpe. I just am watching from afar, and I have some opinions about it. And I think it's kind of, maybe important a little bit, how I feel about it. Because I have followed Donovan Sharpe, and I have followed 21 Studios, and I have followed mgtow since its inception. And I have been into PUA since 2012 or something like that. So about 10 years I'm invested in a lot of these different avenues. So I've got some experience, and based on that, I've got some opinions. So first off, let me start out with what is mgtow. Okay, so I used to consider myself mgtow once upon a time. I think I first heard of mgtow 2013, right around there, which was pretty much right when it was coming out. And I've said this before on other videos, but I did consider myself mgtow initially, and I didn't really fully understand everything that it meant. I thought that, okay, men going their own way, that means that I can still, pump and dump women. I might still be in a relationship. It doesn't matter as long as, I'm going my own way. And I learned later that that's not really quite what it is. Really what it is mgtow is going away from women, right? At least current women in the current society that we live in, and especially going away from all of the pitfalls. For sure, never marry. 100% never marry. Probably 100% don't get into a long-term relationship because it's not beneficial. Basically, mgtow is walking away from the matrix, especially insofar as it has to do with how a man can get caught up in legislation. Because when a man is cohabiting with a woman, or a man is in a long-term relationship with a woman, now I learned through the court system that you don't even have to live with her in order to be considered her partner, which is nuts, right? So as long as you're in an LTR, a long-term relationship with any girl, you are considered her partner in a lot of states. I don't know if it's all 50 states, but I know it's my state, which is Washington. Okay, I live in Seattle, near Seattle, and I know it's probably a lot of other liberal states, very left-leaning states, because they're very into quote-unquote protecting women at the downfall of men, right? So mgtow is walking away from that. Totally walking away from marriage. 100% never get married, because once you sign that contract with the state, you're done, right? You are setting yourself up. Marriages are you dying at a 60% rate. Okay, you're not in a positive position in that case. All right. Now I have heard of something called what's that called? Private marriage, privatization of marriage, or something like that. Private marriage, which is like basically getting married without involving the state. I think it was Rand Paul, who's a great man, by the way, who was a libertarian, and his son, his son's Rand Paul. I forget the father's name, something Paul. Anyway, gosh. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about, though. Libertarian guy. He tried to get that. He tried to push private marriage here. Essentially, he tried to divorce the marriage union with the state as it's instituted with the state, right? So potentially you could do a private marriage, but it doesn't even matter whether you do a private marriage, whether you do a real marriage, whether you're cohabiting, whether you're living with a woman. As long as you are in an LTR, long-term relationship, you are considered her partner, therefore you are liable. And this is how wacky these laws are. They're outdated. They're actually the opposite of, you know, equality and, you know, feminist equality. If feminism really is about freedom, if feminism is really about female empowerment, then they need to remove these sexist laws that put her, because it doesn't make any sense. It's like what they're doing with the military, right? They're literally lowering the bar so women can qualify to be in the military, which is so stupid. It's like you're weakening us, right? So on the one hand, they'll talk crap about, oh, you know, women are equal, woo woo woo, but then they'll lower the bar, they'll lower the standards for women so women can, quote unquote, be on the same level as men, that's not equality, that's equity. Okay, that's something totally different. You are manipulating the standards, you're manipulating the playing field in order to have women be on a quote unquote even level playing with men, and it doesn't work like that. So MGTOW is walking away from all that bullshit because it knows that the more you are instituted with legislation, the more you are, you know, in a precarious position to be taken to the cleaners by women. And this is, women can at any time, because of no fault divorce, decide to just leave you high and dry, right? So MGTOW is pretty much walking away from women in general in that sense. No long-term relationships, no marriage, no cohabiting, no partnerships. Why? Because it's not beneficial for men. This is what I learned around 2014, 15. When I first joined in 2013, I didn't really understand what it was. I was purple pilled a little bit still at that point. Wasn't fully red pilled like I am now. I was purple pilled. I still believed in the unicorn. I still believed in true love. I do a whole lot less now, like if at all. Okay, at times I still struggle with it because of, you know, blue pill conditioning, because of, you know, that whole love story kind of crap that goes so deep into our cerebellum, right? Our brain that says, oh, you know, I really want love, and you realize women are just not that way, and female nature is just not that way. And I'm not saying it can't happen, I don't know, but again, it's like a 2 to 5% chance, maybe less. I don't know. I'm not gonna, you know, that's just not what this video is about. But I was still purple pilled around 2013, 2014. I, you know, took some of those purple pill sensibilities into certain MGTOW camps, certain MGTOW groups, and I was booted out. I was shouted down. I was attacked because I kind of, you know, disagreed with these guys who were just so much in their red pill rage. Because a lot of, you know, these guys around 2013, 14, when MGTOW first came on the scene on social media and on the internet, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, a lot of guys were in really serious red pill rage mode, and they were raging against women, and I was a little still purple pilled. I still had a girlfriend at that point. My last girlfriend broke up with me in 2016. I learned a ton from that. She kind of came back in 2018, 19-ish, and she was living with some other guy. She was cheating on him with me, and I learned so much from that relationship. But then I had, like, you know, other relationships before that didn't quite tilt me over into the red pill, but they were pushing me towards that. And then I kind of took the red pill around 2011, 2012. Kind of subconsciously, didn't even realize what I was doing. You know, anyway, I've talked about this a lot on my channel and my other videos, but around 2013, 14, I learned about MGTOW, and I was like, oh, that seems kind of cool. It seems kind of interesting. I like that. I like, you know, men going their own way, leaving the matrix, woo, 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 sounds good, until I realized I was still purple pill, because I was still, you know, had a girlfriend from 2014 to 16. Once she left me, you know, and once I've, you know, figured out, I mean, she left me for another guy with money, and she moved in with him, and she didn't even tell me about him and all this. That's when I went fully red pill, and I was like, all right, every experience I had with women from the time, you know, I was 8 years old to the, you know, I had 3 girlfriends when I was 8 years old, all in the same year. I kissed all of them. Of course, I didn't have sex until I was like 18. But anyway, I always had girlfriends. Like always had girlfriends. But there was always some bullshit, always some weird shit that they were doing. Always some, you know. So all those experiences from 8 years old. You know, I kissed a girl. Oh, you know, I like you. And then once I started liking her, she didn't want me anymore. That was at 8 years old, for real. Like back in like 1989 or some shit like that, right? So it's always been this way, and it just took me a really long time because of the blue pill conditioning to really get into MGTOW. So it's like, you know, when I finally got into MGTOW, I was like, okay, I finally was like, I think I'm ready for mgtow. But then I realized I don't think I want to walk fully away from women. I still want to have sex. I still like sex. I still want to pump and dump. I still want to do pickup. I still want to approach. So that was my experience. So I felt like I couldn't go fully mgtow. So I didn't really I used to put, the mgtow label on some of my videos back in the day, like 2016-ish. But I still wasn't fully. I might have some from like 2017 even that have mgtow, but I, way back. But I just didn't feel like, I didn't feel like I wanted to fully commit to leaving women fully. I still wanted sex. So I haven't called myself mgtow, and I still don't really consider myself mgtow. But because of my experience with that, I do feel like I know kind of a lot about mgtow, and I've talked to a lot of mgtow guys. I've heard their stories. Woo woo. mgtow is pretty much going your own way, as in you don't want to have anything to do with women, pretty much fully. Okay, pretty much 100%. Now, I do believe that when I think about it, I do believe that you can pump and dump and still be mgtow. I do. But mgtow is almost fully just going your own way, really. Now, there is a difference between mgtow in general and mgtow monk. mgtow monk is totally walking away from women in every aspect of life. You don't want anything to do with women. mgtow monk is you want zero to do with women totally. You have no affiliation whatsoever. You don't even like working with them. That's mgtow monk. All right. So I think that when we're talking about what is mgtow, there's really two facets of mgtow. There's mgtow, general mgtow, where you're going your own way. You're not going to get married. You are not going to have a long-term relationship. You're not going to cohabit. You are a single guy for life. That is your decision that you have made until maybe legislation gets changed, until it's more equal. The sexism is not in legislation, and that has to do with abortion as well, right? If you knock a woman up, she can have your kid and you have no say, or she can kill your kid and you have no say. And if she has the kid, you 100% have to pay for it. It's all on the man, right? So even that needs to change. So the marriage laws need to change. The cohabiting laws need to change. They need to take that out of legislation, and they need to change the abortion laws. If you're asking me, abortion should be illegal. It's murder. It's sick for a woman to kill her child. Absolutely horrible and sick. And they call their babies parasites and all the crap that, it's not really a human being, it's just a fetus, all the mental gymnastics they do in order to justify killing their own child, which is very sick. Now, I understand in today's day and age, everybody's having sex and you don't want a kid. I get it, but maybe you should keep your legs closed. Maybe you should be more careful, wear a condom. Maybe you should have the guy pull out. Maybe you shouldn't be so weird in your sexuality where you would have sex with a stranger who you don't want to have a kid with and go bear pickle and not have a condom. Strap up, if you're going to do it. I get it. It doesn't feel very good. Or really get your pill down right. It's 99% effective. Take the pill, right? When I had my girlfriend from 2013, 2016, had girlfriends before that from like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013, 3 major relationships from like 2009 to 2016. I was having a lot of sex with these girls and I was going bare pickle, but guess what? They were on the pill, okay? And I'm not saying you should go bare pickle. You should strap up, particularly if you're gonna have like a one night stand or something. Good God, STDs are rampant these days, right? So that stuff needs to change. Abortion needs to change. Legislation needs to change. Marriage laws need to change. The cohabiting laws need to change. Again, you don't even have to live with a girl in order to be considered her partner. And if she does move in with you, if she does live with you, you're liable, man. You are liable to pay her. If she breaks up with you, you don't even have to be married anymore, and prenups don't even work anymore. Look at what happened with Dr. Dre or whatever. I mean, there's a million examples. There's a million. It's just there's no question. It's not even a debating point. You cannot get married if you're mgtow. Okay. And that's that. That's pretty much what mgtow is. So I just wanted to clarify that. The second thing I'm going to talk about really is kind of just random. It has to do, I probably shouldn't even really talk about it, but it has to do with this guy, JMULV. This is something where, okay, so the reason why I want to talk about it is because I watched 21 Now, people in the manosphere need to I think there needs to be more unity in a way. There really shouldn't be infighting. But when people are being phony, when people are messed up, when people are doing messed up things. Now, I'm going to give my opinion on 21 Studios. Anthony Dream Johnson, whom I respect. I respect what he's done. I respect the platform that he's created. I respect the video that he made about Donovan Sharpe because it was very thorough, and I get what he's doing. Feels like he's trying to expose Donovan Sharpe. But with that said, I do think that we should have more unity in the pickup community, or not pickup community, sorry, the red pill community. Actually, the pickup community can benefit from red pill community. We're not opposed. Really our opposition in the red pill community and the manosphere in general, if we really care about men, our real opposition is from liberals, lefties, and feminists, and white knights, and these beta male orbiter guys who defend the bad behavior of women. Those are our real opposition, right? PUA and red pill aren't really in opposition. I don't believe. I think they should kind of complement each other in a certain way. But when you mix PUA and red pill, it can be detrimental, which has been my issue with Donovan Sharpe, which has been my issue with Rollo Tomasi, which has been my issue with Richard Cooper, is these guys mix. And I say those names because these are the biggest guys. These are the biggest guys who get the most publicity, who have the most following, who get the most video views. Okay. I think it's a problem because they're saying conflicting things. They're saying diametrically opposed things. On the one hand, they're saying hypergamy is really bad. Don't settle down. Yet these guys have wives, right? I'm pretty sure Richard Cooper has a wife. I know for sure 100% Donovan Sharpe now has a wife. That after I watched Anthony Dream Johnson's video from 21 Studios exposing him. And I know that Rollo Tomasi's got a wife. I think last I heard, she was going to divorce him or something like that. So he can't even keep his wife. And she's like not even attractive. Anyway, as I usually don't go there. I usually don't comment on women's attractiveness. It's not my deal. It's not my bid. A lot of pickup guys do, who are trying to expose, which is why I want to talk about JMULV, because he's trying to expose everybody. And I believe he's 100% a fraud. The reason why I want to talk about JMULV is because somebody asked me on my channel about him. They just asked me a general question. I think I was talking about PUA and pickup artistry, and I haven't talked about this in a long time. I've really kind of just, even almost the last year, I've really just stuck to red pill concepts. But somebody asked me about JMULV, and I was, more into pickup a couple years ago. Since COVID hit, I've just been laying low. But I probably will get back into it, only to pump and dump, not to date or anything like that. So I do have an opinion on that because I have studied RSD a lot. RSD was kind of helped me get out and really leave the house. It kind of helped me actually get off the dating sites, which were just big fat nothing most of the time. Although I've gotten laid a lot from them, but at the same time, it's just, anyway, it's just very sparse, very hard to do. Unless you're just a 10 out of 10 objective, amazing, good-looking Chad driving a Lamborghini, you're going to get the drags. And I've gotten a lot of drags, but I've also gotten some decent girls off dating sites. But so I'm going to get back into pickup a little bit. So I know a little bit about this because I've studied RSD. And I think RSD was good for what it was. I think RSD, maybe there was some phoniness going on. Maybe there was some fraudulentness going on there, with RSD, but they had a lot of great information, and they helped a lot of people who were like really kind of stuck in the house, stuck indoors. They helped a lot of guys who needed the confidence in themselves, needed the self-esteem in themselves, and needed a sort of blueprint to get out and to go talk to girls. And that's where I think RSD succeeded. Now, this is why I think JMULV is a problem. Although I think I wouldn't say a problem, but I just think he's kind of a dick. I mean, he gets very few views. He gets like, a couple thousand views on every one of his videos. It's pretty much nothing, but for some reason everybody knows who he is. Because, he was on 21 Studios with Anthony Johnson, whom I respect. And he's kind of putting himself out there like, oh, look, I've got 1,000 lays, 1,233 or some shit, 235 now or some shit is what he's claiming. But he really doesn't have any proof. He shows himself with girls, and then he acts like that is that's proof. Like, oh, okay, I could go anywhere and get an escort and say, hey, I could rent a model. I could put out ads on Craigslist or put out ads on modelmayhem.com, and I could rent a model for like $100 an hour and have her take some pictures with me and say, yeah, I'm banging this girl. Like, absolutely retarded, absolutely silly. And this is what JMULV does. I'm talking about John Anthony lifestyle here, man. And he's funny in that he calls a lot of people out, and he has some real proof of his call outs, but then a lot of his call outs are just random shit. Like, he's just talking shit. It's like a 5-minute video, not very long at all, where he's exposing, quote unquote, these guys. And he really is not. He's just giving his opinion. He's saying, this guy's a loser. Oh, I've talked to many people who have taken his course and woo, woo, woo. And it's like, when you really go and study what he's saying, it's nothing RSD never said. His pickup courses, it's nothing. He's like, I've got all these success rates and woo, woo. It's like, he says all this stuff and there's no proof of it, right? And it's not that I don't think he's funny. It's not that I don't think that he has potential. It's not that I don't think, he could be a decent dude, but he's a total asshole. Like, he's got potential to be a decent guy if he would just chill the fuck out and stop. In a way, I think that we might not even know who he is if he didn't do these call out videos, right? We might not even know who he is. So it's interesting. It's just interesting because all of a sudden here's this JMULV guy and he's talking shit about RSD and he's talking shit about Rollo Tomasi, he's talking shit about Donovan Sharpe, and he's been right in some of the things he says. But then also he makes videos about guys and there's really no content to it. There's no proof. He just talks shit. And then also all he has is these random videos. He's like, I've got proof in this video, and you go and click on the video and there's no proof. It's just him talking for 10 minutes, trying to convince you that he's bedded 1,200 women. And it's just like, what? And where I laughed was Anthony Dream Johnson's actually taken this guy under his wing, and so has a Bulldog Mindset, and they've kind of collabed and made videos, and it's just like, what? Like, this guy doesn't have any proof of what he's talking about. He seems phony, fraudulent. He's not really bringing anything to the table. It's entertaining, I'll say that. Him calling out RSD, him calling out all these people. I think RSD went under because the reason why RSD went under, in my opinion, was because there was some people getting caught up in there were some people who were doing some weird practices because what's his name, Tyler RSD, who I met in person. I actually went to one of his free tours. I met Tyler RSD, I met Julian RSD, I met Jeffy RSD, and I met Luke RSD, and they were all okay guys. Tyler was cool. He was decent. He had a kind of magnetic air about. He's kind of a cult leader kind of guy, but at the same time, he has a lot of great quality content. Right? He brings a lot to the table. They brought a lot of content to the table. I've still got some of their programs, but it all got taken down, I think, or at least a lot of their YouTube videos, because Tyler was doing this thing where he was putting out videos where he was saying, oh, you can just walk up and start touching girls. You can just walk up and grab her and kiss her. He was saying shit like that, and that is a big problem because guys took that and said, oh, I can just end. And I think some guys got in trouble for it. And so maybe he was getting sued. I'm not sure. So it kind of came back to him. Also, I think YouTube did this thing. There was this guy from the UK who got actually jail time because he was apparently sexually harassing women or something like that. And I heard about that case and I thought it was borderline. I didn't think he touched anybody or grabbed anybody, but apparently some women said he was annoying in a kind of sexually harassing way, and so he actually went to jail, and there was backlash because of that. YouTube decided to take down a lot of pickup channels who were putting out infields. And what an infield is when a guy goes out and he cold approaches women in real life, and that cold approach is filmed. They call it an infield. Right, so they film it, and it's like you can see how he talks to the girl, you can see how he gets her number, you can see how he picks her up, and woo woo woo. Right, that's an infield. So what YouTube did after that guy from the UK got busted and got sent to prison or jail for like 6 months or something like that. I forget how long he got sent to jail, but he got convicted of that. And again, I thought that was weird. I thought it was borderline what he did. What they said he did, and like, yeah, pickup guys can be annoying and it can be a problem if you're not careful. I've done it a lot in my life. I've gone out dozens and dozens of times and approached women, in real life. And it can be dangerous. You got to be careful. You got to know what you're doing. And you can't be weird and creepy. You got to really be careful. Because you could get hit with sexual harassment or something like that, right? Because of that, YouTube cracked down on a lot of channels who had infields. So RSD, I think they just totally changed their whole company. It was because of that, and it was also, I think, because maybe they got sued, or there was some issues there. So now RSD and Tyler, all they do is like self-help stuff, self-motivation crap, and I don't even listen to it anymore because who needs to hear that, And I think his popularity has died since then. But he made a lot of money off of RSD RSD PUA stuff, and he made millions, and he lives in a mansion in like Beverly Hills now or some shit. So he got his cake, right? He got his come up or whatever, and so it's like JMULV is trying to do that too. And JMULV, the real truth about JMULV, and you can Google this, is he used to work for RSD and they fired him because he got a sexual harassment charge. And this is fair use. This is on the internet. This is what I read on the internet. This is not coming from me. I'm not just throwing that out there. This is well-known information in pickup artist circles, right? So apparently what happened with JMULV is he had some girl in his car or something, and she wanted to get out, and he locked the doors or side. I read up on it or something like that, and he wouldn't let her get out, and he tried to kiss on her, and she said he sexually harassed. At least that's what she allegedly said, and he never really defended himself on that. JMULV, to my immediate remembrance, I think at one point he may have had a video where he was talking about it way back. I've been following JMULV, John Anthony Lifestyle, probably since about 2017-ish, around there. So for about 3 or 4 years, I've been watching him put out content. And mostly it's just fluff. I just think he's a fraud. I don't think he really brings anything to the table that's of any relevance at all. He just claims some shit. He just claims he slept with 1,000 women, 1,200 women, whatever. And it's like, there's no proof. I saw one of his infields and it was really weak. Not even one. I saw a few of his infields back when he used to put out infield videos, and very weak game. And he claims he's the best. He claims he's one of the best ever. I think the guy's a complete narcissist, but somehow he got hooked up with Anthony Dream Johnson. And here's the thing, JMULV has something about him where he's kind of confidently aggressive, or he's kind of cocky in his videos where he makes these call-out videos. And some of that cockiness and confidence, I think, rubbed off onto Anthony Dream Johnson. And Anthony Dream Johnson is a guy with character, and a guy with integrity, and a guy who looks for facts, and a guy who keeps receipts. Obviously, if you go watch his roast video of Donovan Sharpe, which is on his 21 Studios channel, which is an amazing video. I think it's like 2.5 hours, and I watched the whole thing, probably one of the longest YouTube videos I've ever watched. And it was amazing what he did, tearing down Donovan Sharpe, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But so some of JMULV's cockiness, I think, rubbed off on Anthony Dream Johnson, and so in that sense, it's like, okay, well, that's cool, that's good. Like some of that you could call it positive energy, cockiness, whatever, brash, aggressive, confidence, whatever. Obviously, if he's talking shit and it's not real, then what good is it for him? I think it's funny, but some of the shit that the people he calls out, there's some truth to what he calls out, right? So it's whatever. But do I think he's legitimately a guy who slept with 1,200 women? Absolutely not. Not even like what? Like the guy has no proof of it. He takes pictures with what look like escorts, okay? And then that's it. And that's his only proof, is like a few pictures with women. Like I've seen some of his infields. There's no infields like that are any good. All his infields are weak. I don't even know if he still has infields that are on his channel. The ones that I saw were very, very weak. His game was like just barely better than beginner, like not even really intermediate style game. He was just like pretty medium, pretty weak. In a couple of his approaches, and it was just like, and even I didn't even know, he might have hired the girl, he might have talked to her beforehand. It was weird, like, and it wasn't even a good interaction. So he has these, like, now he has these videos where he's in some villa in like Costa Rica, is what he says, and he's just this big baller or something. It's like, where's your receipts? Where's the proof of that? Like, there's so many fraudsters and fraudulent people out there just to make money. And it's like, he's definitely one of them. There's no proof, and so it's like it's just silly. So I think I'm going to end it there on JMULV. I'm going to talk about 21 Studios in the next video. This is going to be a part 1. I'm going to upload this and come back to the part 2. Appreciate you listening. Jay Lee Northwest Podcast. Peace.